Have you ever wondered why some people seem calmer even when life is far from perfect? The answer is not money, luck, or a life without problems. The real answer lies somewhere much closer and more powerful. The way the human mind works. Modern psychology has shown that happiness is not a permanent state or a reward reserved for a few. It is a mental skill, something that can be trained and strengthened through small daily habits, thoughts, and decisions that often go unnoticed. The human brain was not designed to make us happy. It was designed to most keep us alive. That is why it pays more attention to danger, mistakes, and negative experiences. Thousands of years ago, this survival mechanism helped humans avoid threats. Today, however, it can become a mental trap, overthinking, worrying excessively, replaying past errors, or fearing the future. The first step toward a happier life is understanding this without judging yourself. You are not weak for feeling anxious, sad, or frustrated. Your brain is simply doing what it evolved to do, sometimes a little too intensely. Positive psychology teaches us something powerful. Happiness does not depend on eliminating problems. It depends on how we interpret what happens to us. Two people can experience the same situation and feel completely different emotions. The difference is not the event itself, but the story they tell themselves about it. This brings us to one of the most important elements of emotional well-being: your inner dialogue. That voice that speaks to you all day long. If that voice is harsh, critical, and negative, your mind will remain in constant tension. But if you learn to speak to yourself with balance and understanding, your nervous system begins to calm down. Another important discovery in psychology is something called hedonic adaptation. Humans quickly get used to both positive and negative changes. Achieving a big goal brings happiness, but only temporarily. After a while, the mind resets and starts wanting more. Understanding this prevents the endless chase for the next achievement and helps us appreciate the process, not just the outcome. Happiness is also deeply connected to the present moment. Most psychological suffering happens when the mind travels to the past with regret or to the future with fear. Living happily does not mean ignoring reality. It means training your attention to return to the present, where, most of the time, you are safe. Small mental habits can transform your emotional experience. Practicing gratitude, resting without guilt, setting healthy boundaries, accepting emotions instead of fighting them, and understanding that not every thought represents the truth. Psychology offers a liberating truth. We cannot control everything that happens, but we can influence how we respond. And within that response lies emotional freedom. This is just the beginning. In the next chapters, we will explore how to build healthier mental habits, manage difficult emotions, and create a deeper, more sustainable form of happiness. Because happiness is not an accident. It is a skill you can learn. Emotions, habits, and the conscious mind, the art of feeling without getting lost. Emotions are not the problem. The real problem is not understanding them. For a long time, people believed that being happy meant never feeling sadness, anger, or fear. But modern psychology is clear. Every emotion has a purpose, even the uncomfortable ones. Emotions are messages from the brain and body. Fear protects us. Sadness invites us to slow down and process. Anger signals that a boundary may have been crossed. When we suppress or ignore emotions, they do not disappear. They transform into stress, anxiety, or emotional exhaustion. Living happily does not mean always feeling good. It means being able to move through difficult feelings without breaking inside. The key is emotional awareness, recognizing what we feel, naming it, and allowing the experience without judging ourselves. Research shows that an emotion by itself lasts only a short time at full intensity. What keeps it alive for hours or days is the thinking attached to it. For example, the pain of making a mistake fades quickly, but repeating the thought, "I am not good enough," keeps the emotional wound active. Here we discover a powerful ability, the conscious mind. Being conscious does not mean emptying your thoughts. It means observing them without being carried away by them. It is the difference between saying, "I am sadness," and "a sadness is present in me right now." When we develop this skill, we gain inner space. Instead of reacting automatically, we begin to choose our responses, and that changes our entire experience of life. Another pillar of happiness is mental and emotional habits. The brain learns through repetition. Whatever you practice becomes stronger. If you constantly complain, your mind becomes efficient at finding problems. If you practice gratitude, your brain becomes skilled at noticing what is good, even during difficult days. Gratitude is not denying reality. It is balancing perception. Psychological studies show that consciously appreciating small moments improves mood, sleep quality, and relationships. It does not require big events, only awareness, a calm moment, a sincere conversation, a deep breath. Human well-being also depends on connection. We are wired to relate to others. Healthy relationships, honest conversations, and feeling heard directly influence emotional stability. It is not about how many people surround you, but how safe you feel with them. Learning to set boundaries is another form of self-respect. Saying no when necessary protects emotional energy. Psychology consistently finds that people who respect their own limits experience less resentment and greater inner peace. Finally, accepting uncertainty is essential. The mind naturally tries to control everything, but life is unpredictable. Happiness grows when we stop fighting what we cannot control and focus on what remains in our hands, our choices, habits, and perspective. In the next chapter, we will explore how to heal emotional wounds, transform limiting beliefs, and build a stable and realistic self-esteem, because understanding your emotions does not make you fragile, it makes you free. Behind every intense reaction, insecurity, or recurring emotional struggle, there is usually a story, a past experience, an emotional wound that was never fully understood at the time. Psychology teaches us that we are not only shaped by what happens to us, but by how we interpret what happens. From childhood, we begin forming beliefs about ourselves. I am capable. I am not enough. I must please others to be loved. Showing emotions is weakness. These ideas rarely appear consciously. They develop through repeated experiences, words we heard, and moments that influenced our identity. Over time, they become automatic truths in the mind, even when they are incomplete or inaccurate. The problem is not having beliefs. The problem is not never questioning them. Many of the phrases we repeat internally are not facts. They are conclusions we created when we had fewer emotional resources. Yet they continue directing adult decisions, relationships, and self-worth. Self-esteem is often misunderstood. It is not feeling superior or forcing positive thoughts. It is something deeper, the quality of the relationship you have with yourself. It is how you speak to yourself after failure. It is whether you respect your limits. It is your ability to recognize mistakes without destroying your personal value. A healthy self-esteem allows accountability without self-rejection. The mind tends to generalize. One failure becomes, I always fail. One rejection becomes, no one wants me. Cognitive psychology calls these distortions mental shortcuts, not objective reality. Learning to identify them weakens their power. Asking simple questions changes perception. Is this a fact or an interpretation? Am I exaggerating? What evidence contradicts this thought? This process does not create false optimism. It creates mental balance. Emotional wounds also influence relationships. Fear of abandonment can lead to dependency. Fear of vulnerability can create emotional distance. When we understand the origin of our reactions, patterns stop feeling inevitable and start becoming changeable. Healing does not mean erasing the past. It means reinterpreting it, recognizing that you acted with the tools you had at the time. Self-compassion becomes essential here, not as self-pity but as psychological repair. People who treat themselves with understanding recover faster from emotional pain and show greater resilience. Modern psychology also highlights the importance of internal coherence, alignment between thoughts, emotions, and actions. When we constantly pretend to be someone else to gain acceptance, the mind lives under tension. When we accept our imperfections, the nervous system relaxes. Lasting happiness does not come from eliminating insecurity completely. It comes from moving forward even when insecurity appears. Acting with fear, but not being controlled by it. Building a supportive inner relationship is one of the most important projects of life. Every day you wake up with yourself. Every day you hear your internal voice. That voice can become your harshest critic or your strongest ally. In the next chapter, we will explore how purpose, meaning, and conscious goals create a deeper sense of fulfillment and direction. Because when your relationship with yourself heals, life stops feeling like a battle and starts feeling like a path. Purpose, meaning, and fulfillment. The invisible force that guides a happy life. There is an important difference between pleasure and fulfillment. Pleasure is immediate, intense, and temporary. Fulfillment is quieter, deeper, and lasting. Psychology has consistently shown that long-term happiness is not built only on enjoyable moments. It is built on biakime, meaning abuse. Human beings need to feel that their lives are moving in a direction, that their actions matter. Purpose does not have to be dramatic or world-changing. It does not require fame, wealth, or recognition. Often, purpose is found in simple but meaningful roles: raising a child, helping others, creating something valuable, learning continuously, or contributing to a community. Research in existential psychology suggests that people with a strong sense of meaning cope better with stress, recover faster from adversity, and experience greater emotional stability. Purpose acts like an internal compass. It does not remove pain, but it gives pain context. Without meaning, life can begin to feel mechanical, waking up, completing tasks, chasing external achievements, yet feeling an underlying emptiness. This happens because the human brain does not only seek reward, it seeks coherence, it seeks a reason. Purpose often develops in three main areas: growth, feeling that you are evolving and learning; contribution, knowing that your existence positively affects someone or something; values, acting in alignment with what truly matters to you. When actions contradict personal values, inner conflict appears. A person may achieve external success but still feel disconnected. In contrast, when behavior aligns with deeply held principles, emotional stability increases. It is important to understand that purpose is rarely discovered in a single moment of clarity. More often, it is built gradually through experience, reflection, and curiosity. It evolves as we evolve. Psychology also distinguishes between external and internal goals. External goals focus on status, appearance, or approval. Internal goals focus on growth, connection, and authenticity. Studies show that people who prioritize internal goals report higher long-term well-being. At the same time, purpose does not mean constant productivity. Rest is part of meaning. Reflection, silence, and recovery allow the mind to integrate experiences and prevent burnout. A meaningful life is not the busiest life, it is the most aligned life. Uncertainty is also part of the human experience. We may not always know exactly where we are going, yet choosing a conscious attitude toward life creates stability even when circumstances shift. When people connect with purpose, ordinary days begin to feel different. Small actions gain significance, routine becomes intention, effort becomes direction. Deep happiness is not constant excitement, it is the calm confidence of knowing you are walking toward something that resonates with who you are. In the next chapter, we will explore resilience and mindset, how to maintain emotional strength even when life becomes unpredictable. Because when you discover meaning, life stops feeling random and begins to feel intentional. Resilience and mindset. The strength to rise and grow. Life is not a straight line. It includes setbacks, losses, uncertainty, and moments that challenge everything we thought was stable. Yet some people face adversity and emerge stronger, wiser, and more grounded. Psychology calls this ability resilience. Resilience does not mean avoiding pain. It means adapting without losing yourself. It is the capacity to feel disappointment, fear, or grief, and still move forward with awareness and strength. One of the foundations of resilience is mindset. The way we interpret difficulty shapes how we respond to it. When someone experiences failure and concludes, "This proves I am incapable," emotional energy decreases. But when the interpretation shifts to, "This is part of learning," the brain activates motivation and problem-solving systems. Cognitive psychology explains that events themselves do not define our emotional outcome. The meaning we assign to them does. Changing the internal narrative does not deny reality. It reframes it in a way that supports growth instead of helplessness. Another essential element of resilience is emotional regulation. Resilient individuals do not suppress their emotions, but they also do not let emotions dictate every action. They allow themselves to feel deeply, and then choose constructive responses. This may include seeking support, reflecting, adjusting plans, or simply giving themselves time to recover. Flexibility is equally important. A rigid mind resists change and struggles when expectations collapse. A flexible mind adapts. Accepting that plans may shift reduces stress and increases psychological stability. Social connection plays a crucial role as well. Human beings are not designed to endure hardship alone. Sharing experiences with trusted people decreases emotional burden and strengthens recovery. Research consistently shows that belonging and support are protective factors against chronic stress. Interestingly, adversity can sometimes lead to personal growth. This is known as post-traumatic growth. Many individuals report deeper appreciation for life, clearer priorities, and stronger relationships after navigating serious challenges. Pain, while difficult, can become a catalyst for transformation. A growth mindset strengthens resilience further. Believing that abilities and intelligence can develop over time encourages persistence. Instead of avoiding challenges out of fear of failure, people begin to see effort as part of improvement. Resilience is not invulnerability, it is continuous adaptation. It is recognizing that every setback carries information. It is understanding that suffering may not always be avoidable, but it can be processed, integrated, and transformed. When resilience becomes part of your psychological foundation, happiness no longer depends on perfect circumstances. It becomes an internal steadiness, a quiet confidence that you can face what comes next. In the final chapter, we will integrate everything: emotions, beliefs, purpose, and resilience into a sustainable model of balanced happiness. Because strength is not the absence of struggle, it is the decision to keep growing through it. Integration and balance, building sustainable happiness. Understanding emotions, healing beliefs, discovering purpose, and developing resilience are powerful steps. But real transformation happens when all of these elements are integrated into daily life. Happiness is not built in theory. It is built in ordinary moments. Sustainable happiness begins with awareness. When you observe your thoughts without immediately believing them, you create psychological space. Not every thought deserves authority. Many are automatic reactions shaped by past experiences. Awareness allows choice. Integration also means accepting complexity. You can feel grateful and uncertain at the same time. You can experience fear while still moving forward. Mature happiness does not eliminate uncomfortable emotions. It makes room for them without allowing them to dominate your identity. Energy management is essential. The brain is not designed for constant stimulation or pressure. Chronic stress exhausts emotional resources. Rest, reflection, and mental breaks are not signs of weakness. They are biological necessities. Sleep, quiet time, and meaningful pauses regulate the nervous system and restore clarity. Daily habits quietly shape long-term well-being. Small, consistent actions. Practicing gratitude, engaging in physical movement, maintaining supportive relationships, setting boundaries, and aligning behavior with personal values gradually rewire neural pathways. The brain strengthens what it repeatedly experiences. Comparison, however, disrupts balance. Measuring your progress against others can weaken self-esteem and create unnecessary pressure. Each person moves through life with different timing, challenges, and opportunities. Psychological peace grows when attention returns to personal growth rather than external competition. Another key element of integration is acceptance. Acceptance does not mean resignation. It means acknowledging reality as it is before choosing how to respond. Fighting what cannot be changed consumes energy. Redirecting energy toward what can be influenced restores empowerment. Happiness is also dynamic. There will be seasons of clarity and seasons of confusion, periods of motivation and periods of fatigue. This fluctuation does not mean failure. It reflects the natural rhythm of being human. When emotions are understood, beliefs are questioned, purpose is clarified, and resilience is strengthened, a deeper stability begins to form. Happiness becomes less dependent on external outcomes and more rooted in internal alignment. At this stage, joy is no longer an intense peak that appears and disappears unpredictably. It becomes a quiet consistency. The sense that you are living intentionally, responding thoughtfully, and growing continuously. Psychology does not promise a life without challenges. It offers something more realistic and empowering. The tools to navigate challenges with balance, awareness, and meaning. Perhaps true happiness is not constant excitement. Perhaps it is the calm confidence of knowing that you can face life as it unfolds, with understanding, adaptability, and self-respect. Because happiness is not something you wait to find. It is something you build, thought by thought, habit by habit, day by day.